pairings for round 4, which Yiheng and Roiheng, battle of the insane turn speed.
Blue collar.
Zhao Kun, previous match, when asked who he wants to face most in Monkey League, said Tymon, and now he's getting Tymon.
You can see the aura radiating off of Chris Mills as he walks back to the
Come on, dude, he's earned it, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 23rd episode of the Millisecond podcast. There we go, we got it. I am Chris Mills, and I'm with your other host, Dylan Miller. Dylan, how's your week been?
Dude, my week was actually really eventful. I went to a pickleball tournament with producer Matt, Jamie, and Manu Singhal, senior delegate of the North American continent, and it was really fun. The pickleball tournament was really cool. We were going to see kind of how it compares to WCA stuff, and we learned a lot of really interesting things. I told Matt he should make a video talking about the difference between the pickleball tournament and an average WCA comp versus majors or continentals or whatever. And I think it was really interesting. The competitors were super fired up. I'm not a big pickleball guy, but I did find myself getting really invested, and there was a lot of cool booths and stuff. We even won a Rubik's Cube at one of the booths. That was super sick. And then, I went to Santa Monica Beach for the first time since moving out to California. Beautiful area, by the way. It was amazing. And then I had a comp this weekend in Temecula. One of my clients actually got sub-7 average. Shout out Dominic Shoji. And then Brandon True, another one of the people I've coached, got sub-10 official average. So, it was a good week for my clients. My results were not great. I was really chomped and felt bad about my results, but it happens. My mental's been kind of trash, and I've got Oregon coming up tomorrow at the time of this posted, so check it out on Speedkeeping TV. PSL Oregon. But yeah, that was it for me. What about you, Nils?
I've not been up to too much. I got a haircut. I've been playing some tennis. I've been studying a little bit, procrastinating a little bit, cubing a bit. I finally started learning Soon and Anti-Soon ZB. I haven't learned much yet. I've maybe learned 20 arcs. But I'm I want to get it done, and I want to try full ZB. I'm so close, I may as well give it a go. But no, it is interesting you've talked about pickleball because I think it's a very new sport. Yeah. And it's in that way, it's kind of comparable to speed cubing, and you could definitely take a couple of things because and there's also competing organizations in pickleball as well, if I recall correctly. So that's kind of comparable as well. But we've got a few things to talk about this week. But as mentioned last week, the final round of this round of Monkey League is coming up. And we decided that we would have a chat with the one, the only, Philip Lewicki, aka Lazer0Monkey. Philip, welcome to your first Millisecond episode. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm an avid listener of the podcast.
Heck yeah, dude.
Doing well. I'm excited that Monkey League is still happening.
Yeah.
All right. Well, first question for you is how do you feel that this season of Monkey League has been going so far?
Well, I think the storylines have been very interesting. Certainly there were some cubers I expected to do very well, and others that I did not expect to do as well as they did. And so that's been interesting to watch. We've had some amazing showdowns like Yiheng Xuanyi recently. I'm thinking back to Tymon Xuanyi. We had that Xuanyi Zhao Kun match. Xuanyi's had a lot of good matches this season. But on the other hand, we've had Yufeng struggling, and I've wondered why is that? He just got a PR this weekend in China, and he's still struggling Monkey League. So I hope to see him do better. And Timothy's had some lucky bounces. What's he going to make of that? It's just been a very interesting season, a lot of storylines, and I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, for me, the biggest thing that I'm kind of thinking of is Maddie's done really well. He even won a Monkey League at one point, if I recall correctly. Maybe I'm wrong. And then he just had that match against Timothy, and it was not a great showing. But you also wonder about why that's happening.
Yeah, well, he's a full-time college student, and he's a high achiever, and I think he just didn't make enough time for it. He was practicing for other comps as well, so I think
Yeah.
he'll do better in his next match. But it's hard to remain at his level when you have so many other things going on in your life and things you want to succeed in. But yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
interested to see
Definitely.
if he can come back from that because we know that he's capable of beating Yihung, in season 5. So
Yeah.
So the format we've had for this like kind of first round of Monkey League. Well, what season are we on? We on season 6. Is that
yeah,
right? Season 6. That's ridiculous. So you've been doing a Swiss system, which from my understanding, it kind of each round it pairs people with similarly ranked opponents, right?
yeah. So the goal of a Swiss system, so I think it's best understood in comparison to a round robin. So round robin is the system that we used in most of the other seasons of Monkey League. It's where you just face every other person in the competition one time. It's also called an all play all. The problem with this system is that as you increase the number of competitors, the number of matches blows up, and you also get a lot of like totally uncompetitive matches that don't matter for the standings or advancement. Um, so the goal of the Swiss system is basically to try and take only the most competitive matches and also make them all matter as they're happening. So we start off by pairing people. We pair the top half with the bottom half. So in the first round, you can see on the left-hand side, those are the 6 people I invited, ranked. Actually,
Okay.
these pairings are in the order that they happened, but the pairings are based on the ranking. So like Yihung was 1, and then Bofan was the first place in the qualifier, and then Xuanyi was 2, and Zhaokun was second in the qualifier. Yufang was third, and Timothy was third in the qualifier, and so on. And so you get top half versus bottom half, and then we see like, okay, they split up. All the favorites, they all won. And then in the second round, we get all the people who had 1 point, 1 win, going against all the people who had 1 win, and people who had 1 loss going against people who had 1 loss. And again, we did within that group top half versus bottom half, but now we sort it by median. So this is where we sort of differ from a traditional Swiss tournament. The way they do it in chess is that they rank the players by their pre-tournament rating, and then basically the tiebreaker within the score groups for pairings is based on your pre-tournament rating. But what we've done is we've used what I think is more fair is how you've actually done in the tournament. So what your
Yeah.
median was in the round. And what we saw in round 2, that why did Tymon get paired against Xuanyi, for example? Well, Xuanyi had the best median. It was actually a tie with Yihung, and we had a second tiebreaker of a set median. But anyways, Yihung was first, or sorry, Xuanyi was first, Yihung was second, and actually Roihung was third with a 538 median, and Tymon was fourth with a 539 median. So a 0.01 median, and then Tymon had to face Xuanyi because Tymon was fourth and Xuanyi was first. And then, we do 1 versus 4, 2 versus 5, 3 versus 6. So it seems like a pretty straightforward pairing system. The problem is that we have 12 competitors, and 12 is not a power of 2. So this means that after the second round, we basically had an odd number of people in each score group. So
Yeah.
there were 3 people that were 2-0. If you remember, it was Xuanyi, Yihung, and Roihung that were 2-0. And then we had 6 people that were 1-1, and 3 people that were 0-2. And that means that in order to make pairings, some people have to get paired across groups, which is generally something that's like systematically avoided by the Swiss pairing algorithm that I'm using and all pairing algorithms. But the way that works, you might be wondering, like, why did Yihung get paired against Xuanyi in the third round? Well, it's because there were 3 people in that score group, and Yihung and Xuanyi were the top 2 ranked. And so Roihung, being the lowest rank, moves down. We call it floating down. He gets paired against the top ranked person of the group below. So Tymon was the top ranked person. So that's why we got Roihung versus Tymon. But it's important that Tymon floated up. And this will be very important for the pairings in the final round, which are by far the most complicated. And yeah, so all the other pairings are pretty straightforward, same system I discussed before, except that, who was it? It was Bofon, who was 0-2 by just like sheer bad luck, I guess. Bofon got paired up against Theodore, who was the lowest ranked person in the 1-1 group.
Okay.
And so that gave him basically an opportunity to leapfrog, switch spaces.
Okay.
So if we look at the standings after round 3, the standings are starting to look pretty good. We're getting a pretty good sort of the competitors. And the goal of this whole tournament, there's basically 2 goals. First of all, we want to see some competitive matches and like see how the competitors develop. Like not everyone's in their peak form starting off the season. We want to allow them to get in their peak form, get used to the competitive environment, get used to having like an iPhone in front of their face, competing in front of no one. Like these are the things you have to get used to in Monkey League. And we also want to see like who's the best. Like what's the correct ranking for the knockout tournament? Because in a knockout tournament, the seeding matters a lot because it's single elim. So we want to make sure that the seeding was fairly determined. And that's the point of the standings. We're trying to determine the seeding, like who advances to the knockout, and then what's the seeding. So when we look at the current standings, it's looking pretty good, but you can see there are some things that might need to adjust. Yiheng in first place. He had a great win against Xuanyi. That basically decided first place. We'll see. I mean, it's technically possible that it didn't. And then we have Xuanyi in second, Tymon in third. It's looking a lot like Worlds. Also ordered by Median. That's a good sign. That's like a good proxy for how good the competitors are. But then we see like Timothy is 570 and Bofon's 527. Like maybe they should be switched around. And we talked about like, yeah, so there's still some sorting that maybe could be done. And of course, the competitors will need to prove that their median is justified and that they should be sorted in a certain way. And that's what the final round is about. It's about what's your seed. And we see that in the standings, many competitors are very closely ranked in terms of median. Like, who's better, Roiheng, Jiaokun, Bofan? And what's going on with Yufeng? Like, I thought he was at their level, and why is he not doing as well as we expected? Like, this is what we're going to find out in the final round. And like, which of the competitors performing poorly is going to make it into the top 8? Because I think, as Chris discussed in a previous episode, assuming that Tuan loses his final round, that's the assumption, then there will be 9 people that have 2 wins, which means that the worst median among those will not qualify to the top 8. And so everyone's going to try to solve as fast as they can. Maddie right now is the guy on the worst median. I don't think anyone would have predicted that.
No.
He's a Monkey League legend, 2-time finalist. He was 1 solve away from beating Tymon in one of the finals. But yeah, he's having a rough season. So let's see if he can come back. But yeah, so I guess we could get into how the pairings are made for the next round. Although I think first I'd like to ask if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, I guess like my first thought is looking at the standings and what you've told us about how you do pairings.
Mm-hmm.
Yiheng gets paired down, Xuanyi gets paired up, and we have a rematch. But I'm pretty sure you're not going to do a rematch. So I am interested in seeing how you get around duplicate pairings.
Yeah, so that's actually what we call the absolute criteria that we must not violate, is that we cannot have rematches. That's like essential. And that's why the pairings get so complicated. There are also various other criteria, which I have in my own internal documents, that basically try to make the pairings more fair. They're heavily based, if you want to look up the FIDE Dutch pairing system, this is the like the WCA of chess. They have Swiss tournaments. It's like their standard format. It's like their average of 5 format. And they have like a laundry list of criteria for like what makes better pairings. And the goal is to like maximize fairness. And of course, no rematches. Of course, they have things like color criteria. I don't have those. But anyways, Yeah, so no rematches. I can get into how the pairings were made for round 4, but okay, let's see.
Please do. I'm interested.
Yeah, so I think it'd be easier if we look at the standings. Okay. So we have Yihang in first place. So the way the pairings work is you start from the top. Okay, you try to make pairings at the top, you go down. And because the idea is you're trying to prioritize the pairings for the top people first, and then you go down. So we need an opponent for Yihang. So the first candidate is Xuanyi, but they've already faced. The next candidate is Tymon. The problem with Tymon is that Tymon has previously upfloated. So remember when we talked about how when Tymon was 1-1 and Roihang was 2-0, Tymon faced Roihang? There is a quality criterion that basically says that someone should not play up 2 rounds in a row because they're getting like an unfairly difficult schedule. So that excludes Tymon because he already faced Roihang in the previous round going up. And so the next candidate is Roihang, and basically there's no reason why it can't be Roihang, so it's Roihang. So then we have Roihang floating up to face Yihang. So that's a nice match. Will be Roihang's toughest challenge. And then we have a group remaining of Xuanyi, Tymon, Jiaokun, and Timothy. And the situation there is that the normal pairing would be Xuanyi, Jiaokun, and Tymon, Timothy. Can anyone tell me what the problem with that one is?
Xuanyi Zhaokan already went, right?
Yep. So there's a rematch. So what you do in that situation is you do a transposition of the orders. So basically, you switch the bottom 2 people, and then you try again. There's a lot more rules, but that's all we had to do here.
Yeah. Okay.
So it ends up being Tymon, Jiaokun, and Xuanyi, Timothy. Because basically because Xuanyi, Jiaokun already happened. Okay, so there we have our pairings. Now we get to the bottom half of the standings. And this is where it gets actually pretty challenging for the no rematch clause, because if you look at Tuan and the people above him, you'll notice that they've all faced. Tuan faced Maddie in the first round. Tuan faced Theodore in the second round, and he faced Luke in the third round. So all the people that you would expect would get paired down against Tuan, well, they're not eligible because no rematches. So who gets paired down? Well, it's got to be Yufeng, because he's the lowest ranked person that's still eligible. Okay, so Yufeng gets paired down against Tuan, and then we're left with Bofan, Theodore, Luke, and Maddie. And fortunately, there's no rematch problems. We can just pair Bofan against Luke and Theodore against Maddie. And that's how we get the pairings for round 4, which I think are pretty exciting, especially because Jiaokun, in an interview of his previous match, when asked who he wants to face most in Monkey League, said Tymon. And now he's getting Tymon. Got what he wished for.
That's cute, dude.
Yihang and Roihang, battle of the insane turn speed.
Blue collar.
Yeah. The lower matches, are they going to be able to qualify? And at the bottom, 2 competitors who've been struggling, is it going to continue, or are they going to bounce back? And so, I don't know. What do you guys think about the storylines going to the final round?
I think this is interesting. The match pairing thing that's way more complicated than I thought. It almost seems like you saw Yufeng not doing too well. You want to see more of Yufeng, and you just decided to make up a bunch of rules that allowed you to put Yufeng against Twan.
No, I was actually pretty disappointed that we had to make such an imbalanced pairing. It's just
Yeah.
because Twan's already faced all the lower ranked people, there was basically no other choice.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, I guess Teodor Matty, that's gonna be like a super close match, and I get both of those. You've got that's a must-win match, but it's also a must-win with decent speed, right?
Especially for Maddie, yes.
Yeah.
Because Maddie tanked his median in the last round.
The other person could
And then
also lose and just tank their median crazy. Like Maddie doesn't necessarily need to do really well if Teodor happens to get like a 6.9 median, which I doubt
No,
will
because
happen,
then
but
Teodor would be 1-3, and he wouldn't be part of the 2 group that Maddie's competing with. If Maddie won, and you're
yeah.
saying-
But if someone like Timofey lost his match against Timofey is almost definitely going to lose his match against 1 year. But
not my goat.
It's it's all about how much he loses that match by.
Yeah, so
Because
for
if
Timothy, it actually
Yeah.
matters a lot how fast he is in his match, because right
Yeah.
now he has the worst median of the top people, and so like if he doesn't do well in his next match, he's going to be the 9th guy out. Like he's not going to make it. So
Damn, this is gonna be so close.
Yeah.
I think Yufeng's definitely been given a bit of a lifeline by just getting Twan.
dude,
But he still has to solve decently, because like 5-5. I guess as long as he doesn't do worse than 5-5, he'll be okay.
but then his seed in
we'll see.
single
It
elim is
depends on
bad.
how everyone else does. I think it should be mentioned that Yufeng did beat Timothy in the first round. So he hasn't exactly been given a lifeline. Like he did earn his win, and he got a bit lucky with the pairing, but
Yeah.
So it's also the seedings for this. So you said before that the next round is a top 8 knockout bracket, single elimination. So
that's correct.
the pair it's not just important to get in the top 8 here. It's also important where you seed. Because if you're seeding 8th, 7th, 6th, then you're going to be up against like a Ruhang or Tymon and a Zhuan Yiheng in in your first match of the next round, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna be I guess like the matches that are important then as well, like Jiaoken Tymon, that kind of is quite an important one, because whoever wins that will be top 3, depending on Ruhang Yiheng. Assuming Ruhang loses to Yiheng, whoever wins the Jiaoken Tymon match is going to be like top 3. Well, assuming
That's
they
correct.
solve as they have been. Yeah.
No, they would be top 3 guaranteed.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So then being top 3 is pretty good, because then you're not up against a Yiheng or a Zhuan Yi in your first match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I'm very excited. When are these? So you haven't scheduled these matches yet, but are they going to be over the next few weeks?
I think by the time this podcast is out, the schedule will be live on monkeyleague.org.
Okay.
The matches are pretty much scheduled, and they will start in April, and they'll finish by the end of April.
By the end of April. Okay. And then when are you planning to start the top 8?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's still a plan to do the grand finals in person?
Absolutely. So I guess I could make a small announcement, is that the in-person finals will be in New York City on August 23rd.
Exciting.
So
August 23rd.
Yeah, we're going to have...
Save the date.
Yeah, we'll probably have a 2-day event. We'll have a social the day before, and then the final in person. And I don't know if you've seen, but Xuanyi has already registered for a Mid-Atlantic comp the weekend before. So
I
He plans to be there.
I did
Okay.
see that. That seemed a little
That's
on
confident.
the nose.
That's confident.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap up the Monkey League chat there. Thank you, Philip, for putting on an amazing event year after year. I think you've really grown the sport of speed cubing and like really paved the way for what the head-to-head competitions should look like PSL, the WCA head-to-head. That is basically all modeled off what you have done. And Monkey League itself is awesome to watch. It's still the best thing to watch each year. So yeah, thanks for all the hard work you've done for Monkey League. We are very excited to see these next rounds, and especially that grand final in New York. That will be exciting. And best of luck with the scheduling. I know sometimes you have to get up very early in the morning to record some of these. What's the earliest you've had to get up to do one of these matches?
Well, I've gotten up at 5:30 for a lot of matches. I've also accidentally
Okay.
gotten up earlier.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's not ideal, but thanks for sacrificing your sleep for our enjoyment, I guess.
It's the only way to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, any final questions from you, Dylan, or any final things to say, Philip?
I mean, I don't know if we have time. I wanted to ask, because obviously Monkey League started in 2020 COVID era. How have you felt about like the progression of how it's gotten to where it is today? I mean, I guess like because there was I don't know, it just off that very vague thing there. If you have any thoughts on how it's developed, and just how do you feel about what you've created, I guess, and how it's evolved?
Yeah. I mean, Monkey League started off like kind of accidentally. It was literally just like Leo in the chat saying like, bro, I'm here to like avenge my boy. Like, like just in Twitch chat, people just bantering like, yo, let me get in here. Let me do a match. And I think at the time, like people just needed like to compete. Like professional cubing was like totally shut down. And it was during an era where people were improving really quickly.
Oh yeah.
Like between 2019 and 2021, I mean, it's just absurd how quick people got, especially the Monkey League people.
Yeah.
Like we had Tymon. I mean, he went from like averaging low 6 to like mid 5. I mean, it's a huge jump, and it was a breakthrough jump. And it was great. I think since then, like Monkey League for me always made cubing more exciting. Like when people are just competing in WCA competitions, like I basically just check WCA live, and like if it's a record, I'll look at the video or maybe just the reconstructions.
Yeah.
But when it's Monkey League, like I'm locked in. I'm like watching everything. I'm like, are you lubing the cube like in between solves? like what hand warmers are you using? Like, I don't know. I just feel like it for some reason it's just so much more engaging, like to follow the top cubers. And I've also heard a lot from actual top cubers that it's very motivating to actually improve when you're faced with the reality that you can't blame this on luck. Like, oh, I got bad scrambles. The travel was rough or something. You're sitting at home. You're in your own environment. You know the schedule. It's only a 1-hour competition. Like, if you didn't do well, it's your fault. And if you lost, it's because you were worse.
Damn.
And I think that kind of pressure, I think it really pushes people to be their best and to really figure out, like, what am I not doing as well as I could be doing? And I think we've even seen that within this season. Like, Tymon started off, like, not that much faster than he was before.
Yeah.
It's like, is he improving? And then he goes against Schwenny. He thought he had trained well, and he gets destroyed. And like, he's laughing about it. And like, okay, he knows he's gonna lose, he doesn't think he's gonna lose like 9-2 and his two solves are at 0.05.
Yeah.
Like an average margin of victory of like a second and a half. Like he's not expecting that. And so that motivates him to go to the lab. And I think like we saw like his improvement recently
Insane.
has been faster. Like I'm not going to credit it wholly to Monkey League, but I do think that it's an important ingredient that like when you are facing the top level competition and you know everyone's watching and you know like you don't have that many chances. It's not like attempt spam. Like like everyone has the same number of attempts. It's just about winning. It's just about being good. And I think that was missing from cubing when Monkey League was in hiatus. And I think it's back, and I'm really hoping we can keep it going because it's really exciting to see like the best of cubing close up, to see these cubers. Like before this season of Monkey League, I had not really seen Yufang solve.
Yeah.
I had not really seen Zhaoken solve or
Bofan.
Bofan. Like I had no idea how good these guys were. Like I saw the results, of course. But, like I didn't know like Zhaoken was like color neutral, ZB like
Yeah.
Like I didn't know exactly like what they could do with a Rubik's Cube. And so I think that for me that's been the most exciting. Like what about you guys?
No, I think I would agree with that. And like especially like looking back to when it started in the middle of COVID, we were all starved for things to do, and then getting to watch like the most exciting cubing thing we'd ever watched. That was like amazing opportunity. And yeah, I think it is interesting that you brought up the fact of like there's no excuses in Monkey League. Like there's no excuses for, you can't blame it on some external factor when you lose. Which is like it differentiates like an in-person event and an online event as well. Because if you are in person, you can be like, yeah, even if it's still the Monkey League format with same scrambles head to head, you can still be like, I've got jet lag, or it's
Flash
cold in this venue, I'm not used to it. Yeah, or flash, yeah. Like there's a lot of things you can blame it on. So it is interesting there that like when you're at home, it's your own environment, you're on the same scrambles, there's like the only thing you could blame it on is like maybe scheduling, like I think you've mentioned that some of the matches in China, like Rohang had to get up pretty early for one of those matches. I think that's the only thing you can blame it on. And that's also a rarity to be like a poor time for some people.
Yeah, I think the scheduling is the only possibility, although it is only 1 hour and you know about it weeks in advance. So
yeah,
I think
so
if
adjust
you
your
can't
sleep schedule.
peak for that hour, that's also a skill issue.
Yeah, skill issue. Not look, as someone, I went to an in-person event, did head-to-head. I got 3 hours of sleep the day before, and I did use it as COO, and I will continue to do so. So like, if I you have the goated option select, right? You're like, I did bad because I had no sleep, or it's like I won't even on no sleep. It's either way, it's good. Yeah. I really like what you said about spotlighting the Chinese competitors, because yes, we do not get a chance to see them much. If you're really try hard, like you're going to go to Billy and maybe you get like a few of their PR solves every now and then. But even then,
it's Billy, it's scarce. Like
yeah, it's not super accessible, and so we get a lot of like Yihing Chuani stuff, but like like the slightly lower tier Chinese solvers, you don't get a chance to see them much, and getting to see them in high pressure situations, getting pretty decent solve counts from them as well, seeing how they can go against and like compare against each other, like their styles and everything, I think is really, really cool. So yeah, that was probably my favorite thing about this current season, is just the fact that you have the best people in the world. Like it is going global, and you are getting the Chinese competitors in there.
Yeah, and I think something else about that is like Yufang didn't go to Worlds.
Exactly.
He's world rank 3. Yeah. Rohang didn't go to Worlds.
And Zhaoken.
Yeah.
Zhaoken didn't go to Worlds. Like this competition has everyone. And like for these people that didn't get a chance to go to Worlds, like Rohang was planning to go, and then like he had a school conflict, he couldn't go. Like with Monkey League, I mean, he has plenty of school conflicts, but we can work around it.
Yeah.
And that allows, he's still able to compete and show that he is like maybe a top 5 cuber, maybe even higher. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it there. Thank you very much for your time, Philip, and
Yes, sir.
your insight into Monkey League. And we hope to see you at future competitions. And we were thinking about doing the race. Are you okay to do the race? Can we try and figure this out? Because we got Kevin to do the race last time.
You need to beat Kevin,
Okay.
dude. It's just sub like 7-6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might be able to do it.
Let's go.
I might be able to beat a
All right,
7-6.
let's figure it out.
Maybe. I have an unlubed V11.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
peak.
been,
what a cube.
I actually don't cube that much these days. I mostly just spam TPS on my desk.
Based.
So a lot of my cubing coaching clients are actually almost a bit older. They would be classified as senior cubers, which is over 40. And I want to give a shout out to one of my clients today, Brendan, who went to his first competition over the weekend and got not just one, but 2 sub-20 singles, which was his big goal. So if you want to make some of your goals at competitions, or if you are a bit older and you want to get faster at speed cubing, really make the most of your time, go to millscubing.com, book a session with me, and I'll help you achieve those goals. Let's scramble up.
Wait, it's simul start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Matt.
All right. 3, 2, 1, inspect. Eight seconds. 12, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, 629.
Ooh. Let's
Yeah,
go.
Oh,
Pretty easy scramble.
Yeah,
it was a pretty easy.
You beat Kevin.
All
Though.
right, you did beat Kevin.
You
So
did
Kevin
beat
was
Kevin.
like
I'm sure his
7-6.
scramble was a lot harder, bro.
I think it was quite an easy scramble,
It
actually.
was, yeah.
We've been getting some easy scrambles on the Millisecond podcast.
Yeah.
All right. I think we will say farewell to you now, Philip. Thank you for joining,
Yes, sir.
and we'll
Appreciate
see.
you.
We'll hope to have you on sometime in the future.
All this talk about, all this talk about war got me thinking about how I ran away from you. I left us, and my love for you is real. If you want to be coached by the guy who got Brandon True to a sub-10 official second average, go to my website, solvewithdylan.com. I've been a coach for some of the longest time in North America. I also have my services available on cubing.gg. Get coaching from me there, and let's try to help you out.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Monkey League chat segment with the monkey himself, Philip Lewicki. It's great to have him on and chat about this. And I'm glad we didn't lose to him in the race like we did Kevin, because that would have been embarrassing if we did it 2 in a row.
I know. I was thinking about it. It would have been bad.
It would have been bad. Anyway, some more news throughout the week. Philip alluded to it when we were talking with him, but there was comp in China, and what we were saying last week is that we were very much expecting Yiheng and Xuanyi to get a few good averages over the weekend, and then they would hold all top 100 results for 3x3 average, which would be ridiculous. But the caveat to that was like, as long as someone else doesn't beat PR like Yufeng at this comp. Anyway, guess what Yufeng did? He smashed his PR. He got 437 PR average, which was first in the semi-final. So Yiheng getting third in this round with 491. So good job to Yufeng. We haven't seen the footage show up yet. So I look forward to seeing that. And it is interesting, like he's doing so well in these WCA comps, and then he goes into Monkey League and is kind of a little bit chopped. But surely he can beat Tuan. Anyway, at this same comp, Yiheng won the first 2 rounds. and then Xuan Yi won the finals. But Yi Heng's averages were 414, 418, 491, 433. Like he did exceptionally well. Over all the averages, he did better than Xuan Yi, who got 489, 450, 438, 426. He progressively got faster. But yeah, Yi Heng getting second with 433 is ridiculous. I'm not sure what
this is WR
record.
podium. This is WR podium. It beat Worlds by like 0.0 something.
Oh wow. And is this like the fastest second place? I'm actually not sure about that. I'm not. Surely it is.
I would imagine so. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, because like Xuan Yi hasn't had that many averages better than 4.3. Like it's a handful. So I can't imagine that he's done them in the final where Yi Heng's also done well. So I think this is the best that you can correct us if we're wrong. But this comp in they do love to do that. This comp, it was like a twin comp, and there was also another comp in the same city that had 3x3 and side events. Lincoln 504 PR average, your boy.
Dude, this one hurt.
This is 14th in the world as well, which is pretty ridiculous. Oh, and I actually forgot one more thing from that other comp with Yi Heng Xuan Yi. The GOAT. Add it to the count.
Add that to the count.
I don't know if we've got that loaded up, but there was a comment on the last video where someone went through and counted every time one of us had called somebody or something the GOAT.
I called the country of China the GOAT. I was looking through the list, and it's like Hansen Yu first place, Timofey Tarasenko second. I was like, this is a Dylan Miller list. I look down at all the ones. Felix gets one mention, and then the country of China gets a mention. And then he sends me the timestamp in the episode. He's like, it's right here. I was like, I literally said, shout out to China, bro. They're the GOATs. Like that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway, the GOAT Yi Shen. He continued his PR average streak. He actually got 525 in semis and 512 in the finals. Also knocking you down a rank. So you lost a couple ranks this weekend. And Easy Dong
almost beat me.
Almost
521.
521.
The slow turning god did not beat the blue collar cube scholar. Okay.
So a lot of PR averages coming out of China this weekend. So good work, everybody. And another 3x3 PR. Tymon got a 3x3 PR single, 356, which from my quick look at his profile is his first 3x3 PR since before his 4.5 ER 3x3 single in Sydney, before Worlds. So it's been over 7 years, over 7 years since Tymon has set a 3x3 PR. It's always been a national record or an ER or a world record or something like that. So I thought that was interesting. And he also counted a 3 in this average. He had 3.5, 5.8, 4.5, 5.6, 3.9. So
he's been on a tear, dude.
He has been on a tear. Shout out to Tymon.
He's been so good. The GOAT. Added to the count.
Yeah.
I was talking to him, he told me, he's just like, I've been practicing. I've been seeing improvements. Yeah. I'm really excited to see what he does at future comps. We were talking about it, but dude, he's gonna absolutely smash ER when he gets
It's coming.
Like,
I think 4.2 or 4.3 is coming.
Maybe
not 4.2.
Maybe 4.2 is a little egregious, but 4.4 hundo, low 4.4, maybe even 4.3.
I think WR3 is still on the cards. I think he can take that back. He's
4.37. So yeah, he could do that.
Yeah, imagine this average. One of those fives is a 4.7 or a 4.6. Then that's a 4.3 average.
Totally doable.
If it was, just replace one of the fives with a mid 4. I mean, it's a tall order, but still, it can happen. I remember when I caught up with him in Sydney at the start of the year, we were talking about him going up against Yi Hang in Melbourne Summer, which didn't end up happening, but we thought it was at the time. And he's like, yeah, I mean, Yi Hang's better than me, but I've been improving a lot. And like he was grinding over the holidays.
Oh, he got that dog in him, dude.
Like he was quite confident that like it was a doable encounter, like it was a doable match. He was confident.
Shoot. Okay.
And I don't know, maybe it would have happened if Yi Hang went, but who knows? And we haven't seen Yi Hang Tymon in Monkey League yet. Why? I can't remember why that wasn't a matchup this round. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, shout out China, they're the goats. Shout out Tymon, he's the goat.
Yes.
And
speaking of China,
China,
there was a really interesting post made on Cubic's Friends that I came upon the other day. We were talking about how China has like the government-backed organization. Turns out there's actually 2 of them existing in China. From my understanding,
yes.
and I am very, very stupid. Okay, but from the post here, the National Sports Administration is backing a MOU organization, which is WCU, to my understanding. And then the other one is the National Sports Administration with the Social Sports Center is doing more beginner type things, which is basically the WCA. And then the WCU one is mean of 3 format with like more sprint events and like some events that, from my understanding, aren't even a part of the WCA, like Mirror Cube or whatever. The thing is, both of these organizations are hosting competitions on the same day, and they are both labeling them as the China Championship. It's really, really interesting, right? We've talked about how we want to get government backing for organizations. That way, we can host better events, get more funding. And I've heard that even some of the events, like I forget which of the 2 orgs it is, but like the first event they did was really, really good. And then it kind of fell off, and it actually is worse in WCA comps comparably in China, or like maybe just the same. I don't entirely remember. But yeah, they're kind of cannibalizing themselves in a way. We're like, they're fighting for market share, which like, is really, really interesting. I don't know if you have any thoughts about like how any of this is playing out or like ramifications here.
I mean, it's interesting because both of these are part of the National Sports Administration. It's just different branches of that governmental like organization. One of it is social sports. So I guess, that's like what you're saying. These guys are trying to do more grassroots stuff. And the other one is Chess Sports Management Center. So I think that's like kind of like a mind sports type stuff. So then they're trying to be like the competitive high level thing. So I think there is a world where both of these work, like they work, they live separately, independently, and they can kind of both thrive because they are targeting different audiences. I don't know if that's what's happening at the moment. Like here, we've just got somebody describing how it's different. But maybe like this is intentional from the National Sports Administration to kind of separate it, because we've seen WCA not separate it and the issues that's caused of trying to do everything all at once. So I think this has the possibility to work. I don't know if they are arguing, if they're fighting, or if they're in cahoots, trying to like figure this out. I don't know. There's so many unknowns of this situation, but is definitely interesting. And I want to get more insight into this kind of stuff. So if you're watching this and you've been to one of these events, or someone that's been to one of these events and you know more about it, get in touch, send us any information you've got, because we want to know about what's going on in China.
Yeah.
All right, we've got another big announcement from the WCA. And just a bit of background, we've been following this story for a very long time in the podcast, basically since the start of the podcast, but the executive officer job in the WCA and how it was going to pay like 100,000 US. They were looking for the super qualified person, and then they found the super qualified person, and he looked like he was the man for the job. And then after a few weeks, he left because he got a better job at the Olympics. Catfish, yeah. So since then, we've kind of been like, hey, what's going on? Where's the person which we're trying to pay? And recently we got an announcement saying that the WCA had hired a chief operating officer. So it's a different job to executive officer. I think it's slightly different. I'm not sure in all the ways it is different. But they decided to make an internal hire, and they went with Dan Smith, who was previously on the board of directors, and he's been, from what I know, he's been doing a great work. He was elected just over a year ago. And he's also been like a delegate and worked with the WCA for a while. But you can see here, he's got a lot of experience in management and leadership roles. So I think it's a good hire. I think he's definitely a good fit. And it is nice to have someone we know is dedicated to the cubing community stepping into this role. And I actually didn't realize how qualified Dan was for this role. I hadn't really thought about that before, but he definitely looks very qualified for the role. And from my communication with the board, I heard that this is like replacing the executive officer role, or like this is what they're going with now. Maybe that executive officer role, like they'll try and hire someone that in the long future, but this is what we've got for now. And it is paying less than that role, but not significantly. So Dan is still going to be paid a significant salary for this, which makes sense given his salary was probably pretty high at his other good jobs. So yeah, I think this is great news. It's great to have someone on the team, especially someone who's already been on the board, so he can get to work basically immediately. There's not going to be such a long learning period like there would have been for Ryan Murphy to like actually figure out how the organization works. Yeah. Dan already knows. He can jump straight into work. And hopefully we can see some big changes. Any thoughts from you on this, Dylan?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm really happy that we hired someone internal, because we know that he's invested. He's been in the community since 2018, like they said, been on the board. He knows how things operate, like very knowledgeable guy, pretty well qualified. You know, the thing I'm really excited about is when Dan was running for board, he ran very much on the idea of transparency and open communication from the board to everybody else. And I hope that now he takes time in his new position to engage more with like the media, or maybe even hop on the Millisecond, man.
Yeah, hop on the pod, Dan. Dude. Let's have a yap.
Hop on the pod, Dan. We're just homies.
We definitely won't drill you about PSL. No way.
No, cut that. No. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to Dan. I actually did talk to Dan about PSL stuff, or just like double elim bracket stuff, like at NAC 24. And he seemed very open to these things. Like he seems to not be, maybe there's like a bit of a WCA culture thing happening where there's people that are like, no wrong can be done by the WCA, and there's people who are maybe a little bit too harsh on the WCA.
I think he's very open.
Perfect middle.
He's a good middle, and I think he's very open to ideas. Yeah.
Yes, and that is what I'm really excited about. He seems like a man who is not going to let his bias affect his decisions, and that's really comforting for me to see. So I'm really glad we got Dan in there. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Dan. We would love to have him on the pod.
Yes,
and have a chat with him. We won't drill you too hard. We can even offer questions in advance. We can do it like a proper media thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's most of the things we wanted to talk about this week. As Philip said, we'll have the matches scheduled for Monkey League. Probably when you're listening to this, you can go on Monkey League and see those scheduled matches. But he said, they won't be until April. So we'll have a bit of a break with no Monkey League, I think, a few weeks before that. I don't know. Have you got any other comps coming? Oh, you've got Oregon this weekend, don't you? You've got
PSL Oregon, Medford, Oregon. I also have a WCA comp that's at the same convention center that the PSL comp is happening. So I get rounds.
Which the WCA didn't cancel.
No, they couldn't. Yep, they couldn't. But I'm really excited for both of those events. And it'll be cool to hang out with people. Asher's going to be big comp.
Yeah, is Asher your main competition at this PSL?
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the time this airs, we'll have already done the press conference for Oregon. But that was on Wednesday. Tomorrow when we're recording, but 2 days ago when you're listening.
So we had some quite upsetting news come into the community just a few days ago. Alex Bohack, who has been a reasonably prominent competitor and speed cuber in North America, quite a competitive pyramid solver, and I think he was a part of the Clicky Studios team. He has been arrested and charged with counts of I don't remember the exact definition, but he had been messaging minors and um, communicating and just very unsettling things with minors and sharing photos around and stuff like that. Like horrible, really horrible things that we don't want to see. And I mean, nobody wants to see that kind of stuff in their community, but I think it really hurts to see somebody so intertwined with our community do something that horrific. Um, and it definitely shocked a lot of people. I didn't know him personally, but I knew people who had spent time with him at Worlds and chatted with him at the World Championships, and it was not something that people would think that he would do. But I mean, we don't want to give him too much airtime on the podcast because he doesn't deserve it. But I think it's just important. Like if you know anybody who is dealing with weird people like this or getting concerning messages, or if you yourself, just make sure to like reach out. And if it's somebody, even if it's somebody at a WCA competition, there's teams like the integrity committee. They can help make you feel safer. Your WCA delegates, if you're open to talking to them, they'll help do their best to help make you feel safer at competitions. And yeah, I think it's in my opinion, it's just like a horrible thing that we just don't want to see at competitions. And anybody affected by this, I hope they can recover and they'll feel better knowing that he is in jail at the moment awaiting trial and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not fully looped in with the American justice system. I don't know how it's going to work. But yeah, do you have any thoughts on this, Dylan?
Yeah, man, it's really sad. Alex is from the Southeast region, so I interacted with him a few times. And yeah, it's really hard to see this all go down. My biggest takeaway from all of this is, it's so hard to prevent it. Like, you can't really do too much, right? I was talking to Matt about the situation yesterday, and the WCA policies are supposed to prevent this from happening, but like harassment is not tolerated, right? But the purview of the WIC like rules or whatever, it's not super encompassing of everything. So yeah, I think just ban pedophiles from the WCA, registry sex offenders, stuff like that. I know it's hard to background check everybody. I think cases like this should be sent to higher ups if there's any reports, because I heard that there was a family member of a competitor in the Southeast region that had unfortunate experiences with Alex and went to the local delegates about it. Apparently the delegates were like, we didn't know this was a thing. Person said that they told them. So I don't know, but any form of communication there needs to be taken very seriously. And yeah, it's very disheartening to see this happen in our community, and it's not the first time it's happened. And as it grows, realistically, it's not going to be the last. So we just need to prepare ourselves to prevent it as much as possible. And for what it's worth, I think the WCA has done a pretty solid job of this, right? Like, it's not a very common thing. Maybe we don't know about it, but like Chris said, if you have any negative experiences at competitions or anyone's making you feel uncomfortable, report it to a delegate, report it to WIC, even call your local police if this is really what needs to happen. So, do what you need to do.
For sure. Yeah. But on that somber note at the end, we're going to move towards the end of the podcast. Our thoughts go out to those affected by this, and we'll wait to hear any more news from the authorities on what happens to Alex. But yeah, I mean, I guess we've got to wrap up the podcast at some point. It feels weird to go from this to wrapping
Yeah.
up the podcast. But
Yeah.
I think we thought that it was important to talk about. Obviously, most of the time we want to be talking about fun and exciting things on the podcast, but I mean, we also try and talk about news and speed cubing, and I think it's a very important thing in speed cubing that people need to be aware of, and just to kind of showcase or just kind of put some attention on issues that, and maybe put the word out there that, hey, if you're seeing something like this, if you're experiencing something like this, you can get help, and don't feel weird about it. It's, you need, just reach out. But we'll wrap up the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, or the more exciting and happy parts of the episode. And it was great to have Philip on and chat with him about Monkey League. You have PSL Oregon this weekend. So best of luck for that. I hope you can take the dub this time, or have a better time. Asher is your main competition, right? Former NAR the second ever sub 4 single was Asher. And I feel like we don't see him compete much. So I'm really interested to see what sort of a level he's at. Because
he's busy. I was told he said when he was asked to go to Oregon, he said, I would love to go. This gives me a reason to practice. And a little part of me was like, oh shoot. I was like, please don't, please don't.
But we don't see much of him. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of speed he's at. Because I know he has sub 6 and stuff like that, but I wonder if he's like, he can consistently throw down those sort of times.
I think he got a sub 6 average again pretty recently as well. Like
so that'll be cool to see. So best of luck with that. I have a wonderful time in Oregon, because there's also a WCA comp as well. So good luck with that.
Couldn't cancel that one.
Couldn't cancel that one yet. And then next week we'll have that to break down, and hopefully other news and exciting stuff. I don't really know who's competing this weekend. I think there is another competition in China. I'm not sure who is going. I know Kieran. I'm pretty sure Kieran Bien is going to a competition.
He's in Malaysia right now, right?
He was in Malaysia for Felix's wedding. We should have loaded it up. There was a great photo from Felix's wedding where all of the cubers did a point, no flash photo at his wedding, and I thought that was awesome. So yeah, but I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you, Dylan, for yapping with me once again. Thanks to Philip, who has already left, for yapping with us. We are big fans of the Monkey Man himself. And we will see you all. That's a interesting nickname, I guess. The Lazer0Monkey himself.
The Lazer0Monkey.
The Lazer0Monkey. The Lazer0Monkey. Okay. Goodbye. See you next week.
Goodbye.